Welcome back, everybody, to Round 5 Commentary with your boy Sparky and my boy Victor. Say hi, Victor.
Hi, Victor.
This week we got Shocker, Boros Energy, and Affinity. Two of the staple decks of the format. What do you think about these matchups here, Victor?
I'd like to thank Wizards for doing their best job of, trying to change the meta around. So, energy at, plus 15%. I'm still mad about it, but whatever. Cool to see Affinity kind of, making an appearance at the final table. Just some new freshness.
Yeah, I mean, Mox Opal did seem like the strongest card out of the ones that were unbanned. Ironically, Kyle, only running 3 Mox Opal on his list this week. He is using a takeoff of Ryan Gasway's list from last week, and it seems like he's on the play.
Oh boy.
Citadel Bubble.
15 guy. Go.
It seems a little slow, but I haven't seen all the cards in Kyle's hand. And Dan leads off with turn 1 guide. Solid play for the last couple months since MH3.
Yeah, you also got to remember that Kyle is new to Affinity, so maybe he doesn't understand all the nuances and, certain things.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. This was his first tournament playing Affinity. He was telling me about it. Double guide is big, brother. We'll see
Dan's
if Kyle
got some great handwriting in that top corner there. That's a great looking
looks
9.
like a 14. I think Kyle can maybe use some amount of mana and stuff to start making some construct tokens and just putting up a blockade.
The only problem is that if the guides go off too hard, it's not going to matter because everything's going to fly and be really awkward. But I mean, do what you got to do. Though apparently I need to get both Dan and Kyle penmanship school lessons because Kyle's got terrible handwriting too. Now that I look,
Listen, all that it matters is if you can read it yourself. So
yeah.
At the end of the day, that's really all that counts.
So there's a life total dispute, and then the judge can't read either of your handwritings.
Yeah, but then I'm just going to reach over and click the button and erase my opponent's life total at that point. So, pen and paper, ladies and gentlemen. Pen and paper.
That's a good one to bin. Actually, though, I'm surprised that he binned it. I would think that just getting the turn 3 value would be strong here, but maybe I'm wrong.
I think he might have like a Spyro or a Blood Moon or something along those lines.
No, Blood Moon would be strong. I'm not sure.
It would be a blowout.
Let me check the deck list here. Let me see if he's running. He is running main deck Blood Moon, so totally possible for an absolute blowout here.
Oh, Spyro.
All right. Oh, okay. This is actually way smarter because if he discards 2 non-lands, he's going to get a lot of triggers.
Mm-hmm. He could definitely jump.
You have an elemental over there?
We do have elementals.
So gain 4 life total. Yep, 4 energy. Yeah, that one. So you're 21 to my 19. Go to combat.
Man, if he had, I mean, you can't discard too many non-land cards, but that would have been a lot of energy really quickly.
Yeah, and it got an extra land out of his hand and got him 2 new cards, which I think is pretty relevant here. So,
yeah, I think he drew another Flage and a Galvanic Discharge and left himself with maybe an Arena of Glory, but I could be wrong about the land. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, and then if he puts something in the way of this construct, it might be
something
interesting.
It's going to be Mox Opal. Oh, yeah, I think it's a Mox Opal.
Kyle's going searching. He sounds like he wants to find Mox Opal for his only colored source of mana to possibly make blue here to play some stuff.
It's tough because I would have probably liked to see Shadow Spear instead so that this construct was actually a problem. Right now, it's kind of just going to get eaten up, but we'll see if this Thoughtcast helps him out.
I mean, it's a 6/6 right now. I don't think Dan can eat it, especially if Kyle keeps playing some artifacts, and with the welding jar in play.
Yeah, but if you think about it, right?
Oh my god, cranial plating. Holy crap. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Because if you get Shadow Spear, you equip that for 2, you equip the cranial plating for 1, and you're getting in for 16?
Yeah. So
2,
that
4, 5.
I mean, he does have Ornithopter, which does help. So the Spiral can't just be a permanent, well, not a permanent blocker, but at least block for the next few turns.
It would have been 15 damage and 15 life.
Yeah, like that's huge.
If you got the Shadow Spear and played the Ornithopter pre-combat.
And Dan can't race that. That's just too much.
Yeah. Dan would need like a Static Prison or something along those lines.
Misplayed here. Yeah, super duper misplayed.
I wonder what the misplay was from Kyle. I mean, unless he
I think
realized that
he's,
he
I
should have
think
got
he's
this.
realizing the Shadow Spear was the right thing to do.
Ornithopter dies. 23.
Hmm.
Yeah. 25.
Yeah, because that was just a 2-turn clock.
Thinking if he should have used the welding jar to save that ornithopter, you're losing an artifact either way, but one's probably a little bit more helpful. Because again, this construct is not getting in.
It's a 12-6.
Yeah.
Big boy.
12-6 that gets blocked all day.
Yeah, if only it had trample and lifelink.
Yeah, I would. Okay, Dan's going. No, I would think to leave the spiral behind so you could block and then untap, and if you have the 5th land, create 2 more elementals, gain 4 more life. Sorry, yeah,
then-
4 life and 4 energy.
And then jump the flage.
Biggest
Yeah.
total? Yeah. Okay, I'm at 10.
Yeah, I think this is where
11, 25. Yeah.
the Inventor's Sphere helps a little bit there. I don't think he had anything drawn there that was going to be helpful, but hard to tell with the cards.
Yeah, he's got a lot of foils. It's a pretty deck.
Cast bubble. Okay.
You know my take on foil, so
That's
I'll just say it's nice
That's a
and pretty.
metallic rebuke in his hand, I can see.
Not too helpful at the moment.
Something of note for any future Affinity players, keeping the bobble in place sometimes, especially when you have an attack step, could be useful. Because it is an artifact. It looks like it's possibly 2 rebukes and an Emery. And then the 4th card, I don't know.
Yep.
It's interesting to see here. Ooh. Nice play from Kyle. Heads up counterspell. Is that just another one?
Discharge.
Sure. Yeah, you got it. Should have got Shadow Spear.
Yeah.
Okay, so he didn't realize that he
discharged
should've
for
got it.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Also puts you like way too out of range.
Yeah, I think the Shadow Spear was probably the right call there. But let's see where we're going into the sideboardings. Looking at the Affinity list, Kyle's got a Disruptor Flute, 2 Force of Negations, 2 Harbinger of the Seas, Nile Spellbomb, Python Needle, 2 Sync of the Stupors, Soul Guide Lantern, 2 Spell Pierces, and 3 Whip Flares. I'd like to see the Whip Flares come in.
Yeah, I could see the whip flares. I don't mind the disruptor flute, just naming Flage, just to kind of keep that from being a problem.
Yeah, cast relatively fine. And then I'd also like to see the Soul Guide Lantern come in. Or the Soul Guide and possibly the Spellbomb to deal with like flages in the yard.
Yeah, that's true.
As
Both
far
ways
as
you draw
cuts,
cards if they're useless.
yeah, 100%. As far as cuts, I might like trim. I would possibly trim on the counter spells and just try and like make your deck the faster aggro deck. Like just try and be as low to the ground as possible. Maybe cut like a Thoughtcast or 2 because it doesn't present anything to the board.
Yeah, Kyle being on the play, probably you could probably take out the counter spells and then maybe on the draw you go back to adding them back in just for the tempo of it, especially because Rebuke does, come down earlier than most counter spells can with the
110%.
improvise.
Looking over at Dan's list for his energy, he's got 2 Containment Priests, 2 Fear Fire Foes, 2 Magebane Lizard, 2 Meltdown, 3 Obsidian Charmaw, 1 Stony Silence, 1 Surgical Extraction, 2 Wear Tear. I can easily see 2 Meltdown, the Stony Silence, and the Wear Tear coming in. That's 5 cards. And then cuts, I could see him cutting the 1 Ragavan, and then possibly the Thraben Charms. That's 3 cards, and you would need 2 more cuts, maybe the Philias, just to like cut some of the chaff from the deck, and then just bring in cards that are just like closeout cards against Affinity.
That's all I am. It's silly.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's tough because I do like the failure. Well, because he only has two, it's probably a cut. But I do like the interaction of Static Prison and Failure to just get rid of all these tokens that Kyle can generate and these creatures that aren't helpful once they come back in most of the time.
The things I'm thinking of that are a big problem are like Kappa Cannoneer,
Right.
and like I don't want to like spend 2 mana with Raven Charm that can't deal with Kappa Cannoneer, whereas
Mm.
you can like spend less and do more to an extent. Like Stony Silence is a blowout against artifact decks, that kind of stuff.
Drum, go.
But we got Kyle on the play, Inventor's Fair into Springleaf Drum. Both kept 7, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think there's any moles. Still a little bit slow from Kyle, but sometimes that's okay because the explosion of just the value can come out of nowhere. So we'll see.
I mean, he's got mana here.
Nothing to do with it though, which is interesting. Tough to see his hand. I know there's a welding jar.
Yeah, I saw the jar. I think there's a blue card. I think it might be Kappa or an Emery, possibly. That's a Darksteel Citadel.
Yeah, draw that.
I guess if you don't have any huge payoffs too, there's no
Cap.
downside to holding it. All these cards cost you either 0 or 1, and you don't want to put yourself in meltdown blowout.
He drew a Harbinger, so he brought those in. I'm
Oh,
not sure how I feel
no.
about that against the 2-color deck. That could be a little rough.
I think what Kyle's trying to do is he's trying to get a situation where he could just like cut Dan off completely because Dan might be just going for double red-white lands. The only problem is that I don't think Kyle understands how that operates with his lands. So I'm hoping that situation doesn't come up, but
Yeah, that's fair.
Guess I'm not.
there's a huge blowout available there that I don't know. Oh boy. Now he's
Okay.
just interesting though, because now he's just saying I don't even care about the meltdown, or he's forgetting it. But oh no,
Harbinger.
oh, this is
Where does he get double blue there?
I see what you're saying. Hold on. I have to do it like that.
no. They fixed it.
Okay.
He had it though, but they fixed
Yeah.
it. I mean, he did have multiple ways correctly to get it, so it's not the end of the world. But
Yeah, and Dan had a fetch line where he can just search up this basic Matanya.
I'm just fine. Pass after that. Is there end-phase discharge? There is an end-phase discharge.
oh no,
There will be
oh, there's a meltdown in Dan's hand too.
Oh no, you know he wants to protect the Harbinger.
Oh jeez. All right, well, let's see if Dan cast it because for everyone at home.
Dear God.
Oh no.
Okay, so this is a layers thing. So
No, actually, no, it doesn't deal with layers here. This is just easy. There's just no. So all of his lands are still artifacts, but they have no text that prevents that says indestructible.
That's correct.
So
So he has 2 Seed of Synods in play.
Your lands are gone too. They're not. It is indestructible. So they're still artifacts. What? How? How are they still artifacts?
Yeah, it doesn't change. It doesn't change.
This is the
All
table
right,
talking
so-
about what's happening. Yeah.
so for everyone at home, artifact is a super type,
I'm so
which
confused.
is on the left
So,
side of the card text,
It's not just a
which
mountain.
means
It's
that
a mountain.
anything that
No, that's not.
changes what they are doesn't affect that they stay artifacts.
Yeah.
So they are
Yeah.
still artifacts.
Harbinger
Yeah.
makes the land just it says on top of it basic mountain, but basic island, but it keeps all super types that it would have, which would be artifact.
Yeah.
And
So
this
unfortunately
is-
for Kyle, he basically just made it so that his lands lost any benefit whatsoever, and now he has this
Yes.
Harbinger in play, which is going to do next to nothing. I actually forgot he was hellbent, and so I can't see this lasting very long.
Yeah, the second Dan has an answer to deal with.
Which he has to discharge.
Yup.
So this is
Here comes the Ocelot Pride, and it looks like there's a Flage and a Johnny and a Bombardment in the hand, so this is going to be over relatively quickly.
Get a man step, get a cat. Yep.
Unfortunately for Kyle, you know what? I always say this, especially even though I am probably one of the few that can admit that I am a salty gamer no matter where I am.
Myself included, as
So unfortunate.
proved by the previous video, round 4.
That's true
The
too.
viewer at home.
You know, it's better to do these kinds of things at your FNM when the stakes are low. Sure, there's store credit on the line, which is always nice to have, but
And some amount of pride, but yeah.
yeah, but you know what? You make them here, you learn from them. That way, when it really matters to you, you know, you're locked in about these interactions a little bit more. And again, Kyle being a first-time Affinity player, this is a good learning experience.
hmm
And wow, look at the typical. It's like energy didn't lose a thing.
Combat attack.
Oh wait, it did it.
Yeah. Big oofs.
Shout out to Mark Rosewater.
I'm at 17, I assume.
I don't think it was Mark Rosewater. I think there was another team who did it, but
He
I don't know.
should have known better. He should have went in there during his podcast and told the team that they were wrong and Guide of Souls needed to go.
I don't think that's his job.
Well,
It's
you know
somebody's
what?
job, but it's not his job.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Get a cat warrior, trigger target you.
I'm at 12.
Got a man step. I'm gonna get 2 cats, 2 cat warriors, and a bunch of life.
It's so funny. I am drawing
Well.
one card that gets me out of this vaguely.
I'm curious what card gets him out of this.
You're at 25?
Not that Memnite that's in the front, so it's certainly not that.
28.
1, 2, 3,
I'm like looking at his deck.
The one card that like slightly gets me out of this, but I'm pretty sure I'm still dead.
Oh, he has a whip flare, but it doesn't really matter. He just-
Ooh, yeah, he just gets everything sacked at him. He did bring in the whip flare, though.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 at you. Out of 5.
yeah, but even still.
Yeah,
what-
he takes the 3 from the Ocelot Pride, makes the guy takes 2, dies.
Card type.
Yeah.
hmm
That's all it is. It's an artifact land or an enchantment land. It's still under Blood Moon. Those card types.
Yeah, they were just explaining how the card interaction works. But sorry, guys, it's been a short one this week. We appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out our store if you want to support us. That's the best way you can. I've been Sparky. Say goodbye, Victor.
Goodbye, Victor.